Alrighty, so let's begin. So I've been looking at this Jack Kornfield book, After the Ecstasy, The Laundry, because I felt like I needed a bit of inspiration last night after watching the news, as I think we all do after every time we watch the news at the moment. So he's just talking about spiritual practice, but then he goes on to tell a Swedish story, which I wanted to share with you today. So here he's saying, we live in disordered times, complicated, distracted, and demanding. Yet to sustain a spiritual practice demands our steady attention. The first task then is to quiet ourselves enough to listen to the voices of our hearts, to listen to that which is beyond our daily affairs. Whether in prayer or meditation, in visualization, in yoga or in song, we need to step out of our usual roles, out of the busy days on automatic pilot. We need to find a way to become receptive and open. And that kind of resonated with me because we have stepped out of our busy days on automatic pilot, but the difference is that we haven't done it of our own accord. Yeah, it's being kind of forced upon us, which is very much a very, very different situation, you know, and it's difficult to find the joy in that, you know, and the being okay with that, really. And then he goes on to talk about a Swedish story, which I really like. And I was a drama therapist for quite a few years before I became a yoga teacher. And stories was something that we'd always use in sessions. I worked a lot with children and adolescents. So, and as a child as well, I've always really loved stories. I've always had a really vivid imagination, and I'm a kind of a bit of a bookworm. So I really liked this story. The traditional Swedish story gives a sense of the next phase of the journey. Because of the mishaps of her parents, a young princess named Aris must be betrothed to a fearful dragon. When the king and queen tell her, she becomes frightened for her life. She goes out beyond the market to seek a wise woman who knows the ways of dragons and men. The wise woman tells Aris that she must indeed marry the dragon, but there are proper ways to approach him. She then gives instructions for the wedding night. In particular, she tells the princess she must wear 10 beautiful gowns, one on top of the other. A lot of gowns. The wedding takes place. A feast is held in the palace, after which the dragon carries the princess off to his bedchamber. When the dragon advances towards his bride, she stops him and says, she must carefully remove her dresses before offering her heart to him. But he also must properly remove his attire. To this, he willingly agrees. As I take off each layer of my gown, you must also remove a layer, she says. Then, taking off the first gown, Princess watches as the dragon sheds his outer layer of scaly armor. Though it is painful, the dragon has done this periodically before. Then the princess removes another gown, and then another. Each time the dragon finds he too must claw off a deeper layer of scales. By the fifth gown, the dragon begins to weep many tears at the pain, yet the princess continues. With each successive layer, the dragon's skin becomes more tender and his form softens. He becomes lighter and lighter. When the princess removes her 10th gown, the dragon releases his dragon form and emerges as a man. Princess Aris and her new husband are left to the pleasures of their bridal chamber. As in a dream, all the figures in such a story can be found within us. We find the scaly dragon and the princess, the wise grandmother, the irresponsible king and queen, the hidden prince, and the unknown one who cast his enchantment long ago. What this story reveals from the start is that the journey is not about going into the light. The forces of our human history and entanglement are tenacious and powerful. The path to inner freedom requires passing through them. Receiving grace, opening to illumination, and becoming wise is never easy. It is described as a difficult purification, cleansing, letting go, and stripping away. Suzuki Roshi called it a general house cleaning of the mind. It is painful to cast off our own scales, and the dragons guarding the way are fierce. It requires the inspiration of angels. It requires diving into an ocean of tears. We have to go through the great fear of marrying the dragon, the seeking of wise counsel, and the long process of releasing the painful habits we have clung to. It is the difficult, slow letting go that allows us to awaken from our enchantment. And I kind of feel at the moment that we're all having to wake up, and it's quite a rude awakening. You know, I certainly feel that, and I really feel how fragile everything is. And it almost kind of feels like what was in the past was like a bit of an illusion, and this is like actually real. And things aren't really going to go back to how they were before, you know, and that's really painful to recognize. So the work begins now, really. I kind of think like, wow, we've had it good for so long, almost, you know, and now we've got to kind of accept the consequences of our actions. Both to like how we've been treating the planet, how we travel, how we kind of put so much value on the material world, you know, and we've been doing that for so long, and kind of waiting for a really big shift. I think, like waiting for somebody else to do something. Like I've just been waiting, like, oh, I'm doing my bit, you know, I'm not flying as much, I'm trying, you know, I'm recycling, you know, all that. But then in the same instance, like really waiting for somebody with a lot of power, or, you know, Greta to sort it out or something. And now actually what's happened is I kind of feel like nature's just gone, no, this is it, this is what's happening now. And everything that we've known, everything that we've relied on, and everything that we've believed in terms of our lives, our roles, our kind of establishment, even in society, you know, and our routines and everything that we do has shifted, you know, and now we're left with this, what's happening now, right in this present moment. And my partner was getting quite upset last night, and worrying about the future. What if this happens and then this happens? And I'm sure we all keep doing that in cycles, you know, as the days go on. I just said to him, I said, there's no point worrying about that. We've just got to stay present with what's happening right now, and looking after ourselves right now, and our families and our friends and each other, you know, staying connected. I said, because you don't know what's going to happen next. And it's just going to get you into that cycle of like just worrying and worrying and getting more and more anxious and getting more and more fearful. And then you can't actually deal with what's happening right now in this present moment. So, not a cheery start Monday. But there's, you know, there's something about the dragon that I really like, and I've always liked dragons. And I know when my son was very small that he just absolutely adored dragons. You know, they were like one of his favorite things. And we've all got our armor, and we've all got our thick skin and our scales and our claws. And we've also got our wise counsel as well within us. So all of these characters are there within us to connect to. And we've already had some of those scales stripped away just by what's happened. And now we're left feeling vulnerable and not as protected and not as safe and not as secure. But we're still here and we're okay. So it's kind of a process of adapting to this new skin and not being afraid of letting those feelings arise and noticing how we are, and just checking in each day and sitting with that, sitting with the discomfort, sitting with the unease, sitting with the worries and the fears, and just feeling it in the body. We've been working in the meditations about feeling, where do we feel the discomfort, where do we feel the anxiety, where do we feel it in the body, and focusing on the breath. And one thing that you can do with the breath, which is a really great practice if you are feeling anxious, is to make your exhale longer than your inhale. Make your exhale longer than your inhale. So I'm going to count you through about 15 of these breaths now, and we're going to try and make that exhale longer to see if we can bring in a little bit of peace and a little bit of calm into our meditation today. So let's all take a nice deep breath in through the nose if possible, and exhale. And then breathing in 1, 2, and exhaling 1, 2, and 3. And breathing in 1, 2, and exhaling 1, 2, and 3. Feel the earth beneath you. Breathing in 1, 2, and exhaling 1, 2, and 3. Breathing in 1, 2, and exhaling 1, 2, and 3. Breathing in 1, 2, and exhaling 1, 2, and 3. Breathing in 1, 2, exhaling 1, 2, and 3. Breathing in 1, 2, exhaling 1, 2, and 3. Breathing in 1, 2, exhaling 1, 2, and 3. Breathing in 1, 2, exhaling 1, 2, and 3. Breathing in 1, 2, exhaling 1, 2, and 3. Feel the earth beneath you. Breathing in 1, 2, exhaling 1, 2, and 3. Breathing in 1, 2, exhaling 1, 2, and 3. Breathing in 1, 2, exhaling 1, 2, and 3. Breathing in 1, 2, exhaling 1, 2, and 3. Last one. Breathing in 1, 2, exhaling 1, 2, and 3. And just let go of controlling the breath. You might find that your breath will stay with that rhythm anyway. Keep focusing on the breath and just notice if your chest maybe feels a little bit softer. Keep letting go and relaxing with that exhalation, following the breath down into the earth, into the support, into the center. And just feeling that lightness and softness on the inhalation. And allow yourself to feel soft, feel vulnerable. And part of feeling vulnerable is being able to ask for help. And being able to be vulnerable in yourself and let go. And nurture yourself. It's absolutely fine to not be strong right now. A lot of strength can come from vulnerability. By being open and soft. Just keep focusing on that movement of the breath. Feeling the body still. Feeling your physical presence. And just noticing how everything is right now in this moment. And just being okay with that. Not passing judgment. Not needing to fix it or change it. It's okay to have a chink or two in your armor. You are changing and shifting. The whole perception of things as they were has changed. And now it's everything as it is right now. It's different. And that's okay. We're shedding off our skin. Bring your hands to the heart center. I'm just going to finish with 3 Oms. You can join in if you like. Bowing your head. Thank you everyone for joining me today. Lovely to see you and know that you are out there. Thank you everyone. Namaste.